Alright, cut it off. It's so grating. It's so grating. Even here, I can't imagine how bad it sounded. Welcome to Jackal's Nest, episode 21, part 3.
Part
3.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Star Wars.
All right.
This is requested by my son, who wanted us to talk about Star Wars. Actually, my son's been enamored with Star Wars. I was a huge Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
Got kind of out of it during the prequels. You know, got kind of like not enjoying it so much. But I was a huge Star Wars fan during the 90s. All that time ago. Reading books about it, you know, expanded universe stuff. And then George Lucas came in and changed everything with the prequels. And then the prequels were what they were. And a whole generation grew up with the prequels. Then they saw the sequels, and they're going through what I went through. So, what are we talking about this week, LD?
Star Wars.
Sequels. Namely, The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
The Last Jedi. TLJ to those that have no life. The Last Jedi, which is the best Star Wars movie since the original trilogy, in my opinion.
Mm.
I love it. I don't think it's perfect, but I love the old trilogy, and it's not perfect either. There's a lot of stuff wrong with it. You can pick a lot of things apart, but it's just so old that, you know, the new generation just assumes that the time period it was like top notch because they have trouble. It's like watching a movie from the 50s for our generation and trying to discern what's a good one and a bad one.
Right.
It can kind of be hard to do. You're like, I think this is good. You know, you don't know because you don't know, you know, so it's not really their fault in a lot of ways. However, and honestly, I don't care what your opinion is about it, but when you tell me something's objectively bad, at that point, you're proving yourself to be an idiot, you know, because objective means that you can't deny it. And of course, anything that's art or media is subjective.
Right.
So to say that something is objectively bad is, you know, already, you're doing it for the views.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest about it. I was listening to a podcast. I don't remember what the podcast was. It was a bunch of British assholes. I listened through the whole fucking thing.
That stood out to you, huh? British assholes.
Yeah, they just sound like a bunch of British assholes. And they were making fun of Chris Stuckman, who's like a reviewer that has really surface level reviews of movies, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he had made a book, and they were making fun of his list of the 50 best movies of like the last certain amount of years. And on his list was The Force Awakens, which I agree with them. If you're going to be talking about like a list of movies of the past like 20-ish years and The Force Awakens is on it, yeah, that's pretty silly. That's pretty silly. But they went off on a tangent about the prequels and stuff, and they basically outed themselves in their tangent. They said, well, at one point they said, thank God for they were calling it TLJ. Thank God for TLJ because that made my career. Oh, did it? Did it make your career hating on that movie? So do you really hate it? Do you really hate it that much, or now you just have to hate it, right? You can't ever change your mind now. Of course, everybody hated the prequels when they came out. Not right away. It took a little bit of time. Mm-hmm. But eventually they said, these movies are really boring
They really
and
are.
hard to sit through.
Yeah.
And things you wanted to see, you found out you shouldn't see. Mm-hmm. I want to see Yoda fight with a lightsaber. Then you see it, and you're like, oh my God. And then you watch the old movie again, you're like, oh yeah. It was never implied that Yoda was a warrior in the old movies, was it?
Right.
It was implied that Luke thought that Yoda was a warrior just because he was a Jedi Master. And Yoda laughed at that notion. Wars not make one great. So being a Jedi Master doesn't mean you're a badass warrior. Being a Jedi Master means that you're one with the Force. And you understand the ebbs and flows of the Force. It's like being Jesus, like being a bunch of mini Jesuses. And so you shouldn't be trying to destroy your opponent as a Jedi Knight. You should be trying to bring balance to the Force. So, maybe even Lucas thought this when he was doing the prequels, was that, you know, the Jedi had lost their way and they were trying to destroy shit instead of fix it. And maybe that was what he was trying to say, in which case I applaud that, and I can kind of see that. Although the movies are unwatchable. Where are we at on time?
We are at almost 7 minutes.
Jesus Christ. I told you. So, I ain't even got to defending The Last Jedi. There's not really a lot to defend. It's just a good movie.
I mean,
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
All the things I hear about it just sound like whiny babies that are mad that what they thought Star Wars was is different than what they thought it was, and that means it's bad. That doesn't make it a bad movie, guys. That means you don't like it because you didn't like where they went with it, and that's totally fine. But it doesn't mean it's an objectively bad movie.
Right.
Now, there's the Canto Bight sequence where they go to another planet that seems like a little bit extra for no real reason. They could probably take most of that out. Although, that would be a great loss because it's amazing to me that they think they find somebody that's going to help them. He turns on them.
Yeah.
Benicio del Toro. You can see Benicio del Toro in a Star Wars movie. Basically, the Lando of that movie. If Lando turned on him and was just a piece of shit and didn't help him later.
Right.
Just turned on him. So there's a lot of similarities there. You got Snoke, a villain that looks stupid as fuck. That you're like, where did this guy come from? It's really fucking stupid that he's even there.
Yeah.
And he gets killed halfway through the movie. I stood up in the theater and started applauding. Like, fuck this idiot, fake-ass Emperor character that they just pulled out of their ass. Right. I was like, kill him. Thank God. Make Kylo the new main villain, and let's move forward. God damn it. That's Star Wars. That's Star Wars. You did it right. That's Star Wars. And then after that, you know, Rey and they think they're on the same team because both of them think they're turning the other one. Yeah. Right? That's well done. I mean, it was just, so much of it was well done. You have the lady's got purple hair. What's her pronouns? That's what these motherfuckers are worried about. It's woke. It's woke. It's woke. They got a woke on there. They got a woke on there. You gotta stop it. It's like, motherfucker, it's a fucking space lady with purple hair. What is wrong with you?
Right.
And then fucking, she tells them, don't risk your life. Not only don't risk your life, don't die for something stupid that's not going to help the cause. That's what she tells them. That's what Leia tells them. Don't kill yourself and kill everybody else with us because you want to be a hero. Right. Do it for a good reason. It was a purple lady hair dude. Purple lady with purple hair. What does she do? She does sacrifice herself at a time that is needed to allow the hope of the resistance to stay alive. Yeah. She does it when it needs to be done. Yeah. Not beforehand, like an idiot. And that is something that I hadn't seen in a Star Wars movie, was where the idea that just because you're a hero and you're going out to do a heroic thing, it may not work out for you. It might fuck everything up. Right. So maybe you have to retreat a little bit to try to win in the end. I like that shit. Is everything great in that movie? No. I put a low bar at that movie. I said it's the best Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi. That's a low bar. There's been no good Star Wars movies. There was the original trilogy, and then it was shit.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of dog shit. And then it was dog shit. And then there was Force Awakens where you're like, well, at least, Harrison Ford. He's happy. He's happy because he dies in this movie, so he's fucking happy as shit. They've been trying to convince him. He's like, I shouldn't even be in Return of the Jedi. You should kill me. Kill me now. And then he's in Return of the Jedi and doesn't do much. And it's like a really bad movie for his character in that movie. About after he gets saved, he just kind of farts around and does nothing. Most of the movie. What y'all need to understand is, most of you are younger. Some of you aren't. Some of the older ones are just fucking NPCs, They've just been told a narrative by the internet and they're going along with it because they want to be part of the Star Wars community. If they're my age and they're talking this shit, it's because they're basically stupid. But you guys that grew up with the prequels, you probably love them. And I don't doubt it, man. I love 1984 Dune. I love that movie. I grew up with it. It's not better than the movie, I haven't seen the new one, but the movie that came out, it's not better than it. It does a better job in some areas, but for the most part, it's a pretty bad movie, but I just love it because I love it. So you can still love your prequels, but you need to understand they're bad movies. And all the stuff in the universe around those movies that makes them make sense is also garbage. Where are we at on time, babe?
12 minutes.
Okay, we're cutting it for now. See you in part 2.
Bye.